Starts really in about an hour or so, even less for some folks a little bit further south. Let's say, for example, in areas like Westerly or Richmond, where those flakes are going to come in a little faster. But you can see temperatures right now, whether you're in Westerly, Taunton, or Providence, in the low 20s, cold enough for snow. But we actually will see them rise just a little bit into the afternoon, and that's when we start to get that wintry mixing. Let's break it all down. We'll start with this. A look outside. Look at that little sliver of red on the horizon. Red sky and morning sailors heed warning. We do have that warning for you today with our storm tracker weather alert day, and you can see the reason why right here. That storm is just knocking on our door. Snowflakes already around Connecticut into the Berkshires, heading just toward the edge of Worcester County and just toward the western edge of Rhode Island. Here's the storm in its entirety. You can see a lot of that snow moving through upstate New York, back up into the Poconos, the Keystone State, with a hodgepodge of winter weather, and that hodgepodge is coming for us as well as we move through the morning. Again, around 7 o'clock, 7:15 or so, that's where those snowflakes really start to come back into southern Rhode Island. South County, you might see the first of those flakes before that snow spreads over not just Rhode Island, but southern Massachusetts as well, down the South Shore, and even to the Cape, we could see a couple flakes as well. Now, this is going to intensify throughout the morning as we get to 8, 9, 10 o'clock before that warm air comes back into play. And look at how we change over to our wintry mix as we get to about 11 o'clock, noon, 1 o'clock, and that's when we see things get really mushy and a little icy. Not out of the question either. For parts of South County and the South Coast, we are going to turn to some plain old rain, and it's just going to be kind of an ugly afternoon, to be perfectly honest with you. Storm's gone by about 3 p.m. or so, but at that point, it's still kind of breezy, uncomfortable, and cloudy. It feels raw outside is the best way I can put it. I'm going to step off the screen for a second and show you the snowfall numbers, but I want to emphasize we could see, I really think, about 1 to 2 inches for most of us across the area as that snow intensifies mid-morning, but it might not look like that at the end of the day because we're following up our snow with our wintry mix, and that's going to pat a lot of stuff down. So unfortunately, even though the numbers say, hey, maybe a little taste of winter in a fun way, it's not going to look all that fun by the end of the day. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but you guys get the picture, right? It's kind of this winter mush I've been talking about all week. That's what this storm is bringing us. Now, one of my bigger concerns is actually some possible icing that we could see. A little freezing rain into parts of northern Providence County, northern Bristol County as well. This is just a trace amount of ice, but a trace is still enough to cause problems on the road. So if you have to hit the road later today, especially into the afternoon, please be incredibly careful as we could have some very slick spots. Temperatures in the mid 30s today, some spots getting up toward the upper 30s. Westerly, for example, I think we could see you at 37 degrees, but that's actually really later in the afternoon. We see those temperatures come around. Tomorrow, we're back into the upper 30s again, mix of clouds and sun, and it's going to get super windy, pretty uncomfortable tomorrow with gusts up toward 40 miles per hour at times. Into the weekend, speaking of uncomfortable, Saturday's all right, but then Saturday night, here comes our next storm, and I actually think this one could provide more snow than the one we're tracking today. It starts late on Saturday night, I'm talking like 10, 11 p.m., and continues into really the mid to late morning on Sunday, tapering off in the early afternoon. There's a ton of stuff that is still up in the air with this storm, so do not take this as set in stone, but I think this is a good example of what we can see with that snow coming down heavy at first, but then a wintry mix similar to what we're seeing today. I just think the snow could be a little heavier at first over the weekend. After that, we're back down into the low and mid 30s, and then another storm could come our way Tuesday night into Wednesday. We're going to keep an eye on it.